Next on Worcester News Tonight, a local pizza shop has apologized after receiving complaints about signs posted on the bathroom doors. Plus, blocking traffic in both directions. A school bus driver takes matters into her own hands. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. DaCosta's Pizza Bakery in Worcester issuing an apology on social media after customers complained about signs posted on the bathroom doors. Tonight we're hearing from a customer who saw the signs and wrote to the owner. Our Cam Jandro has the story.
Angela Georgia was eating at DaCosta's Pizza Bakery in Worcester earlier this week when she noticed a photo of Caitlyn Jenner on the woman's room door. Her boyfriend noticed something similar.
And my boyfriend went to the bathroom and he noticed that on the men's bathroom door was a sign picture of Caitlyn Jenner prior to her transition.
Georgia says she lost her appetite after seeing the signs and was told to contact the restaurant's owner.
This isn't about DaCosta's. This is about, trans kids everywhere looking at this sign and feeling as though they're being mocked in an establishment when all they want to do is have a piece of pizza.
The restaurant has received numerous complaints regarding the signage. Owner Mark Felicio taking to Facebook saying, "I thought this was a clever and lighthearted attempt at humor. I never meant to hurt anyone, but clearly I am wrong." Members of the LGBTQ community say even after a victory for yes on question 3, something like the signs aren't much of a shock.
Having to deal with stuff like this is kind of commonplace and day-to-day when you're trans. There are a lot of people who are prejudiced against us, and there are a lot of people who just don't know better.
The signs have since been taken down. Georgia hopes this serves as a reminder for people to consider who they may be offending.
We have to be accountable for each other and tell each other when we're not being fair, when we're kind of being a bit of a bigot.
Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
Ahead of World Diabetes Day, a central Massachusetts mother whose son is living with the disease is bringing awareness to it. Laura Ritchie's son Dominic is now 20, but was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 8. She says he stayed home from school with what she thought was just a cold, but when he started heavily breathing, she knew something was wrong and rushed him to the hospital. She says type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease. It's triggered by a virus.
The body's immune system is overloaded and it attacks the beta cells in the pancreas. The beta cells are what produces insulin in your body.
Type 1 symptoms can range from extreme thirst and hunger to unconsciousness. For more information, you can visit the American Diabetes Association website. World Diabetes Day is next Wednesday, November 14th. Amor, Puerto Rico, holding a fundraiser at Clark University tonight, reminding people there's still a lot of work to be done on the island. It's been more than a year since Hurricane Maria tore through the island. A lot of rebuilding efforts have been made so far, but a lot remain to be done for rebuilding and improving the lives of the island's residents. Worcester City Councilor Sarai Rivera has been involved with the group. She says they have plans for the funds they raised tonight.
That is a project in Vieques. There's still so much need in Puerto Rico. There's still major destruction. There's still areas that have very minimal electricity. We still have about half of the schools have closed. About half of the healthcare has shut down. So there's still major issues happening on the island.
100% of the proceeds will go towards rebuilding efforts on the island. A vigil tonight in Sturbridge honors the life of Madeline Burgess and brings awareness to domestic violence. The 28-year-old was found dead in her ex-boyfriend's trunk earlier this year. Our Chandler Walsh spoke to her family, who's trying to help other victims of violence.
On August 9th, Madeline Burgess was murdered by her ex-boyfriend.
3 months since Madeline was taken from us.
Her parents are coping by taking the tragedy and using Madeline's story to increase awareness about domestic violence. They say they never expected it to be what killed their vibrant daughter.
Her eyes, remarkably beautiful, and they just pop right out at you. She's just a very beautiful girl inside and out.
Bill Burgess says Madeline's ex-boyfriend isolated her from family, mentally and physically abusing her. She at one point had an emergency restraining order put into effect.
She dropped the restraining order and just got all of her belongings and said, "That's it, I'm all done." A couple of weeks later, she gets text messages, she gets phone calls.
Madeline was ultimately beaten to death. Police found her body in her ex-boyfriend's trunk on a main highway before he killed himself. Her mom, Cindy Perla, says like most abuse victims, Madeline tried to leave several times.
And several times she went back. And each time it got progressively worse.
The YWCA offers counseling and advocacy for women who are victims of abuse. Supervisor Tara Heward says the most important thing for victims is to remember it's not their fault.
Remember that you can't change anybody else, and there are resources out there.
Madeline's parents are working to increase resources for victims of domestic abuse in southern Worcester County. They're also raising money to open a shelter for women.
We want to call Maddie's house, that people would have a place to go to.
That was our Chandler Walsh reporting. We're learning new details tonight about Worcester Technical High School's varsity and junior varsity football teams whose seasons were cut short. As we first told you last night, the district's athletic director says serious safety concerns are being investigated. Worcester Technical High School's football team was set to play against David Prouty tonight, but their season is over, ending abruptly after the superintendent says serious allegations of hazing incidents were reported. Superintendent Maureen Benenda and school safety liaison Rob Pizzella say the incidents were brought to the school's attention on Tuesday when a guardian of a student came forward. Benenda says the incidents were not racially motivated. She didn't get into detail about what exactly occurred, but does say unsafe things were happening in the locker room over the course of the entire season. The school has opened an investigation and did call a meeting with police, parents, and the district attorney's office Thursday night. Pizzella says if any student is found to have violated the code of conduct, they could face long-term suspension. There was also a video taken of the incident and a guardian brought it to the school's attention. Benenda says they'll continue to investigate and will have students participate in anti-hazing programs so this doesn't happen again. Switching gears now, a Worcester diner is being sued by two separate music groups alleging copyright infringement. Ralph's Rock Diner reportedly does live performances and karaoke of copyrighted music without receiving appropriate licenses. Broadcast Music In and the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers filed federal lawsuits earlier this week. Both groups say they made the owner of Ralph's aware of the infringement for the past several years. A school bus driver trying to stop traffic is going viral. Pictures show the bus angled diagonally in the road so cars cannot come from either way. Sutton police say while they understand the idea, it could be a violation. Our Gretchen LaRosa explains.
Images of a school bus parked across the road on purpose have caught the attention of many on social media. The pictures, taken by a motorist who was being held up by the roadblock, have opened up a discussion about school bus safety. The Sutton Police Department is getting involved using the pictures as a teachable moment to remind drivers about the dangers of passing a school bus.
It's a common problem. Obviously, everybody's anxious and in a rush out in the roadways and don't want to get stuck behind or waiting for a school bus to drop off and pick up children. But obviously, it's a very, very big public safety concern and a priority with us.
Police say bus drivers are required to keep their bus to the nearest right side of the road when dropping off and picking up students, but they say student safety comes first.
It's a high priority for public safety, and they need to be very vigilant and be defensive with their operations to try and ensure that everyone's safe.
Parents we spoke to say as long as their children's safety is first, they do not mind the rules of the road being bent.
I would definitely support if a law was to change to allow the bus drivers to pull sideways to keep the kids safe.
I think there should be new rules implemented, new laws, because if people aren't stopping for buses, then either we need more police presence or different laws.
The bus driver could not be reached for comment, but the bus company is standing behind the training they give their drivers, saying the bottom line is making sure kids are safe.